Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, why did I choose this picture of the sexy potato? This is not just because potatoes are something Germans like. It's also something also Danish people like. No, it's because energy efficiency in the industry sector for many years was something like the hot potato. Nobody dared to touch it. Some said, okay, we've done anything we could do to save energy. If you put more burden on us, we will move away. Or if we hadn't done everything we could do, we wouldn't be here producing our goods in a country with such high energy costs. Energy costs are now the driver, which make energy efficiency indeed something which is even more sexy. And of course, all we are sitting here are convinced all the time that energy efficiency is indeed sexy. There's nothing to doubt about. Yes, of course, it's also a matter of a transition of a whole economy. And the targets and goals are clear. Germany wants to get climate neutral by 2045, and this also includes for each individual company to become climate neutral. So there's something to do. We as DENEFF are a network of now more than 200 companies in the field of energy efficiency and energy savings in buildings, in the industry sector, but also ESCOs. And you might have noticed many of our companies are Danish companies, so we're almost a DENEFF and not just a DENEFF. But you can also see there are many solutions. They are just there and for very individual cases, so there are more opportunities than challenges. Yes, so I always said Germany wants to get climate neutral until 2045. What does that mean for the industry sector? There had been 4 major studies in Germany issued last year. And they say to get there we have to come to final energy savings of about 20% in the industry sector. On an economic basis, we have to come to even higher final and primary energy savings, of course. But in the industry sector, of course, due to fuel switches, we have on some parts an increase. But this still means that this additional energy consumption has to be overcompensated by energy efficiency measures to come to those absolute negative consumption. And yes, of course, now the energy price development require even greater efforts and they make even more energy efficiency measures cost effective. Yeah, what's a good example or takeaway from Germany? I would say this is absolutely the number of ISO 50001 energy management certificates. So Germany is far leading before China with a number of certification systems. And the reason for this is that reliefs to regulated energy price components such as renewables, grid surcharges, but also carbon pricing, they are coupled as a prerequisite. You have to have a certified energy management system. This gives opportunities. This means that energy efficiency measures are known. They have strategic relevance on the top-level management agenda due to the structure of this ISO standard. And of course, each company has to come up with individual KPIs on energy efficiency to be monitored and to monitor progress. Still, there are challenges, so there is no requirement inside the norm to implement measures. You just have a soft requirement for an ongoing improvement process, but not really each economic measures have to be implemented. It's not existing. So in Germany, we also have a problem that there is a risk if you get too energy efficient, because if your energy intensity sinks below a threshold in terms of consumptions or energy productivity, you might lose this benefit. And this might lead to a situation where companies say, okay, from this point I stop saving energy. Yeah, and something which is also worthwhile is nowadays, or with the target to become climate neutral, the scope needs to be extended beyond just energy management towards climate management, without greenwashing, of course. Yeah, but is Germany also a leader in terms of energy efficiency progress in the industry sector? There is a ranking done by Fraunhofer Institute and others. It's called Odyssey Mur Scoreboard. And here Germany only ranks 11 of all 27 EU states. So the improvement rate in the last years has been too low. Industry sector means here manufacturing, construction, and mining. But still, you have to worship that if there haven't been technical energy savings, which are on an adjusted figure of above about minus 9%, so the counterfactual energy consumption increase would have led to even higher greenhouse gas emissions. So there is some effect, but the absolute savings are still too low in the final sector. These are figures from the pre-corona rate. So we will have to see what will happen next, and also with regard to the energy price developments. A recent survey, which has been done by the University of Stuttgart, still says that 70% of the companies plan to introduce carbon neutral products or to switch to carbon neutral production. 70% of them ask for support to do so. So they still don't do it on their own to the full extent. And more than 60% even ask for regulation. When it comes to the political framework in Germany, the status quo is, of course, as each EU member state, we have the requirement for so-called non-SMEs to introduce energy audits. This is currently under revision on an EU level, so this might be changed and might get stricter. We also have the opportunity or a program to introduce energy efficiency networks. This is something like weight watchers for energy savings. So companies learn from each other and motivate each other. This is a voluntary scheme. I already said that energy management is a prerequisite for energy reductions. And of course, we have direct grants and subsidized loans. In some last year, this is about €500 million a year, and it's the biggest energy efficiency program for industry, and on plus there are other smaller programs. By the end of this week, the ministry will also launch a national energy savings campaign on the 10th of June, and this will also not just direct to private consumers, but also to companies. What's missing? Energy management systems, we believe, are at a stage where they should become obligatory for any company, not just in exchange for benefits, starting from a level of 5 gigawatt hours, which is the equivalent of 18 terajoules per year. The implementation of identified measures should become mandatory, and still we have also to come to a more consistent regime on existing energy tax reductions, because the conditions are not completely streamlined, and it should be, of course, be extended to climate management systems and towards a strict implementation of measures. Tax incentives could play a role in a form of accelerated capital allowance for energy efficiency, such as they are existing in Ireland and other EU countries, also Singapore, for quite some time. There will be carbon contracts for difference, which are more directed towards more complex products to give them a better start. And of course, the ESCO market could play a role here for quicker implementation, but this is an area where we have a lot of regulatory barriers. The ESCO market is often forgotten when energy efficiency or when energy regulation is done. They don't think about what are the effects to ESCOs. So this is just a quick outlook to what's happening policy-wise in Germany. And of course, our main message is solutions are there. Anything is possible to implement, even to have a better combination of energy management towards climate management. And we published a guideline on that, how you can get from energy management to climate management. And if you're interested in that, you're invited to contact my colleague Tatjana Ruhl, and she's happy to send it to you. So, and now I'm looking forward to discuss with you all. Thank you.